Welcome, welcome. I am Elizabeth Tripp, your host of Nourish the Soul Talk radio show and podcast. I am so excited. Tonight is my premiere and relaunch of this special podcast. I haven't been live in probably about 5 years, so I am so excited to be here and I'm just going to dive right in. We have a incredible show for you. So I want to ask you while you're tuning in right now, are you ready to awaken to true well-being and really unlock a deeper understanding of yourself? I believe it is time for you to start feeling good in your body. It is actually time to shift out of that struggle and into ease with your well being. So, tonight, you're going to sit back, relax, and together we're going to go on an extraordinary journey of self discovery. Nourish the Soul talk radio show and podcast has been specifically designed to help awaken you to the sacred wisdom of your body. And through engaging with you, valued listeners, and transformative storytelling and hosting thought leaders and way showers for interviews around the world, you are going to experience what it feels like when you slow down, get present, and start to tune in to the well being within you right now. So, let me ask you, this is a really important question as we get started today. Did you know your body has been designed on a soul level to help you remember who you really are and the incredible purpose you have come to this earth journey to fulfill for yourself? Yeah, just think about that. Our human bodies are so incredibly powerful. And I believe the answer to our life struggles, whether that's in our relationships, career, prosperity, they are actually in plain sight. The answers to these struggles can be found within our sacred body temples, which, in my opinion, are the greatest technology we have ever been given. Our human bodies, they are pretty profound. And so, as your host, Elizabeth Tripp, I'm going to be taking you on this adventure to explore our bodies in a unique and very powerful way. So, let me tell you just a little bit about me since this is our first time meeting in maybe several years or tuning in for the first time to the podcast. I am a wisdom keeper. And what I do is I guide spiritually men and women, spiritually curious men and women to really return back to their true self by deepening their self love and awakening to the wisdom of their heart. I feel really blessed to do this and be of service to people because I believe that if we want to spread more love into this world, if we want to be beacons of love in our world today, we actually have to love ourselves first. Yeah, we have to love ourselves first, and we need to know what that truly means. We need to understand what loving ourselves truly and authentically means. So, today, I want to talk about what Nourish the Soul, the title of this podcast, actually means, because it relates to self love, it relates to loving ourselves. And in today's podcast, we're going to explore what the meaning of Nourish the Soul is. And we're going to start getting familiar with a process that you can actually plug in on your own to start to nourish your soul while you are outside engaging in your daily life, within your relationships, within your work environments, within your families, so that you have something that you can walk away from this show actually able to apply in your life and see shifts. We're also going to bring you through a experiential meditation, and this is going to happen at the end of the show. So this is kind of the golden nugget of our show, and why you will be wanting to stay tuned in the entire episode, because you're going to get truly nourished through this meditation. So I am so excited and really happy to be here. And I want to remind you, if you are tuning in on Facebook or on talkradio.nyc, on my page or theirs, you can just click the share button and allow for other viewers to tune in with us tonight. That would be absolutely amazing. So just be sure to share and make sure you spread the message. So let's get started. All right. Let's talk about what it means to nourish the soul, what that really means. Just taking a moment here to get present. Let's think about that. To nourish the soul. When we think about that, when it comes to mind, well, let me tell you what personally nourishing the soul means for me. I believe within all of our own human bodies, our sacred temples, there is a light. There is a spark of light that actually resides within our heart. And some people refer to the spark of light as our soul, as a creative intelligence, as our true nature, as our true essence. And it really doesn't matter what label we put on it. Doesn't matter, what construct we put around this. But what does matter is that this light exists within every single one of us. And this light shines no matter what, no matter what's going on within you, it is shining within your heart. And you may not always feel like you can connect to that, or even at times feel like it is, but it is always there. And this light at our heart, it is actually what creates the heartbeat. And when the heart beats within our bodies, it is this incredible organ that pumps blood throughout our entire physical system, bringing blood to our brain, bringing blood to our digestive tract, bringing blood into our lungs, bringing blood into all the other organs and systems that create this physical body. Without our heart, we wouldn't be alive. So it is a very, very important light. And the light that beats our heart, it actually is alive in every single one of our cells. It is alive in all of the tissues. And therefore, it is actually what runs this body, our physical temple, without even any of our conscious thought. And some people can even refer this as just an omnipresent energy. And what I like to liken it to is the same energy that takes a seed and we plant it into the ground and we water it, and suddenly it grows a flower or a tomato or a cucumber, right? That same intelligence exists within all of us. And there is that spark that I call it, okay? And so this spark is so meaningful because it is who we really are. Because truly, we are not our minds. And really, in my opinion, we are not even our body, and we're not the emotions that we feel. But in fact, we are this spark of light. And when we know that, we can become the awareness of that spark, and then the awareness of all that spark does for us within our physical bodies and out in our world. And so that spark of light, it is so important for us to remember that because it is us, it is our heart, that this aspect of us, this true essence of us, it is not a judger. It is not the part of us that makes us wrong. It is not the part of us that makes us bad. It is not the part of us that makes others wrong or bad. And it is also not the part of us that is afraid. This spark of light is unconditionally loving, and it sees you from that lens. So I want to invite all of you tonight to begin to connect, just putting your hands on your heart center and just tuning in and thinking about the spark of light within you, that omnipresent part about you, the creative intelligence that exists within you. And as you get present to that, think about it as though you are becoming the eyes of your heart. And in tonight's show, looking at yourself, your life, and those in it through these eyes of your heart. Because as you do that, you're actually going to find that you will get the most transformational experience out of this radio show. You will actually find that the transformation will happen as you listen. And so I invite you to really use that as a navigational tool as we go farther and farther into exploring the spark of light within our hearts. And so as we venture on to this, we're going to start thinking about how to get present to the spark of light within us. We're going to start to think about the ways that actually we are limited from being present to that, and why it's so important to actually come back to presence. And this is going to tie into what it means to nourish the soul and what this show is all about. So when we come back, we're going to dive in.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a high-achieving, growth-oriented leader? Are you interested in developing your authentic leadership while creating a healthy, inclusive workplace? Hi, I'm Dr. Mira Brancu, host of The Hard Skills on talkradio.nyc at 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, where we discuss how leaders develop the hard skills needed to make a greater impact. We interview experts, have live coaching, and tackle these challenges. Listen to The Hard Skills on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
Hello, hello. This is Elizabeth Tripp, your host of Nourish the Soul Talk radio show and podcast. It's amazing to be back, and I'm so excited to be here. Listen, if you're tuning in on Facebook and you're watching right now, send us a message. Let us know you're listening, or even share the podcast. Tonight is my premiere and relaunch of this show. Did you guys know I did this show for, I think it was almost 3 years, from 2017 to early 2019. So I'm so excited to be back tonight. And we have a pretty amazing topic. We are going to be exploring what it means to nourish the soul. And in our last segment, we were just talking about connecting to and getting aware of the spark of light within our heart, because I believe that spark of light is who we truly are. It is this creative intelligence, this omnipresent energy. It is our God self. It is our creator within us. And it actually is everywhere, right? But what I really want to hit home with you is that it's not only in everything we see outside of ourselves, but it is within everything inside our body. All of our cells, all of our tissues, all of our organs, all of our systems. And it is what literally keeps our body going without any of our conscious thought. And so, why is it so important to get present to the spark of light at our heart, right? Because we are starting to see that our heart is actually the truth of who we are. This light within it is our truth. And we can often get confused thinking our truth is what our mind tells us. We can think the mind and what the story the mind is telling us about ourselves and the world outside of us is the truth. But in fact, our mind is our judger. It is often the part of us that is critical of ourselves and others. And it's also the part of us that has been hardwired to protect ourselves, especially in threatening situations. And it can get triggered to be in a fight or flight mode, which can happen when we feel we're under attack or even when we get triggered. So our mind can often tell us a story that is untrue about who we are, because who we really are, in my opinion, is a unconditionally omnipresent, beautiful light that truly looks at us without judgment and accepts all of who we are, all of our human facets and the cosmic aspects of ourselves. So I am super excited to be bringing you guys all on this journey and talking about this. So let's go further. So, how do we get present to the spark of light within us? Well, let's just talk about getting present, right? I just want to applaud you all if in the last segment, when I asked you to put your hand on your heart and to just become aware and start thinking about that spark of light, that's actually presence. That's an action of presence, because the definition of presence is existing and occurring now. It's this period of time that's happening right now. And it is our responsibility, because we are creators of our life, because our minds are so powerful and at times can be so critical and run an untrue story about ourselves and others, to be here now. Because that's what it means to nourish the soul, to be present, to be present, to not be attached to the past, and to not be, thinking about the future. So chained to a future that hasn't even occurred yet, but to actually slow ourselves down, to remove distractions, cell phones, TVs, right? Games, and our computers and phones, other people, and come into awareness, become conscious of ourselves, of the light within our heart, and the power it has to understand ourselves and to discern what is really true, to help us decide what story we want to tell so that we can actually put our heart in the leading position of our narrative, in the writer of our script of life, as the lead actor in this play that we are in, right? The heart. So being present to that spark of light is really about immersing ourselves in the present experience and really finding the meaning in every moment. And guess what? We're all in these incredible vessels, these sacred body temples. And they are telling us so much information. Our body speaks our mind, but it desperately wants us to know the truth of our heart. And that is why it has accepted the role to express the mind's narrative. And until we become aware of the heart's narrative, our truth. Because once we do, then our body will actually shift because it naturally wants to be in balance and harmony. It's been designed that way, into the heart resonance, into the vibration of the heart, which is more peaceful and calm and relaxed and joyful, right? So we want to actually use this technology, our body, to get into the present moment, to get out of our head, out of the past, out of future, right? And into the now. And how do we do that? Well, we want to bring our attention to our heart. We want to bring our heart towards ourselves, towards our body, towards our mind, right? We want to really start to be conscious of that. We want to start to consciously be aware, okay, so I'm in this sacred body temple. It is sacred because it has been designed by a creative intelligence that allows for me to be alive, that allows for me to take breath without thought, to digest without thought, to eliminate without thought. That's pretty incredible. So we want to bring our heart towards ourselves and draw this awareness, this attention first to how incredible we are, how incredibly powerful we really are, because we have a lot of power. And sometimes in today's world, we forget that. We misunderstand what power is. We think power sometimes is about proving who we are. And really, it's about becoming more present and aware of who we are, right? And integrating that truth. Because our mind, yes, will tell a story. And like I said, the mind is more of our judger. It is more of our critical perspective of ourselves. And it personalizes things. The mind really will personalize things. And when we go through traumatic experiences, the mind is the first one to conclude things about ourselves that are also negative. And it is the first one to store that in our subconscious and use that record within ourselves from those past traumas, those past experiences, as a lens in which we understand ourselves until we bring our heart towards ourselves, until we bring our heart towards our mind, until we bring our heart towards our body. Yeah? Because the heart is accepting of it all. It doesn't judge anger. It doesn't judge frustration. It doesn't judge feeling sad. And it does not judge if you judge other people because it knows you're just judging yourself. And it wants you to realize how unconditionally loving you truly are, how truly full of light every aspect and facet of you is, how the human experience itself is a journey of awakening to the pure magic of ourselves. The heart wants that. And so it has asked the body to express the narrative of the mind, to help you awaken to the heart, to deepen your self-love. And to do that, we must get present. Because what are the benefits of being present? What are the benefits? I mean, share them. Thank you, Hong and Sam and Jacob, for sharing on Facebook. I see your messages. Thank you. And I'm curious. Feel free to chime in. What are the benefits of being present? Because if we can see, all of us from time to time, we get triggered, right? By life. Circumstance happens, things break, people get upset. What's the common phrase? Shit happens, right? I was in an airport about 2 weeks ago and the entire airport practically shut down. It was like, did I create that? Why am I here? How do I handle this? And so we all get presented with circumstances where we may get triggered, where our mind may be very loud, judging, criticizing, feeling fearful. But if we can see the benefit of being present, we can actually come back into our bodies and aware of the light at our heart, aware of the truth of ourselves. We come back into the moment, we can discern, we can decide, we can start to choose what is true and what is not, and how we want to intentionally create our path in life. That is nourishing the soul. So in this upcoming break, I want all of us to start to think about, okay, what would be the benefits of being present in the here and now, connected to our physical bodies, not attached to what we're doing, not attached to accomplishing something for an outcome, just here, aware of the body and everything the body is expressing in this very moment, which is all we have, this moment. So as you think about that, as you settle into that, you're going to start to hear some pretty incredible things. But first, let's take a quick break and allow for you to actually start to open up to the beauty of how our heart beats.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host the program Philanthropy in Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
Were you an essential worker during the pandemic? If you needed to learn stages of epilepsy, did you depend on advocates? Did you use new innovations to cope with mental and neurological issues? Maintaining high quality of life and keeping good mental health are what we all strive for. I'm Frank R. Harrison, host of Frank About Health, and each week top healthcare influencers, professionals, and innovators answer these questions and more. Stay tuned on Thursdays at 5 p.m. on talkradio.nyc, and I will continue to be frank about health with all of you.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Welcome, welcome. This is Elizabeth Tripp, your host of Nourish the Soul Talk Radio and podcast. I'm so excited to be here. Are you guys all ready to awaken to true well-being and unlock a deeper understanding of who you really are? Well, that's exactly what we're doing tonight. We're actually exploring, what does it mean to nourish the soul? And how does that interplay with our bodies, these sacred temples, this incredible technology, right? Because I believe that the answer to all of our life struggles, they're right here in front of us. And what it takes is presence, a deep presence and a conscious awareness of that, by getting into our heart and looking at ourselves through the eyes of our heart and really seeing the truth of who we are. Our life can change. Our well-being can change in an instant when we make that a priority. Because let me tell you, doing that is a brave act of self-love. And that's what I love to do. I love to help spiritually curious men and women deepen their self-love and truly awaken to the wisdom of their hearts, the truth of who they are. And what we're talking about in this segment is we are getting aware, we're becoming conscious of why it is so powerful to practice presence. I tell this to my, clients all the time. I say presence is your superpower. And often when I first tell them that, they kind of look at me, and I think truly and honestly they agree, but they don't really know that. None of us know that until we happen to come up against an experience in our life that actually triggers us, that actually brings up an emotion within us, whether that be anger, frustration, fear, sadness, jealousy, right? And it's in those moments, right, that we can either reach into reactivity and start to react to life, start to just operate from these automatic conditioned programs that we have, like, well, this person doesn't think I'm good enough, or, they always make me wrong, or I can't do that, I'm too afraid, it won't work out. Or we can actually start to pause. We can slow down. We can remember that the truth of ourselves is within us. It's not outside. There's nothing external that is going to give you the answer. But it is within you that all can be revealed and known. All that you need is here inside. It is within that light that we are ultimately connected to the Creator. And that connection can empower us to respond. Because as we slow down, as we come into the light of our heart, we become aware of it, we start to breathe, right? We actually start to be able to look at ourselves through the eyes of our heart, and we can start to get present to what our body is telling us, because the body speaks our mind. The body has agreed to speak the mind until we awaken to our heart, until we deepen our self-love and discover who we really are. So our aches and pains and dis-ease, they are messages to actually come home to ourselves, to become more present, because that is nourishing the soul. So thank you so much. I wanted to just add, I love these comments. Jacob, my beautiful husband, says, you become a beautiful gift to those you love in your life. Yes, that is a benefit of present, because that's the question I asked, and I'm going to continue talking about that. And Anton on YouTube says, the ocean of suffering is immense, but if you can turn around, you can see the land. Wow, that's beautiful. That is really beautiful and so true. I love the engagement. I love the comments. Why I love doing this. It's so amazing. So the benefits of being present, we become conscious. We become aware of the story we tell about who we are. Remember, I said there's a couple of facets about our human self that make us whole, right? We have a mind, right? We have a body. We are talking about the spark of the light within us, right? And all of those work in concert to make us who we are, right? And it just so happens that we also have emotion, that as we, experience life and feel things and go through painful events, we have emotions that come to surface that come up and shape our experience, right? So when we become present, we actually get conscious of the story that we tell. And this ties into the emotions, because we start to notice how our thoughts affect how we feel. If I tell myself, in which I have, I'll be quite honest, vulnerability is not something I struggle with. Be very vulnerable with you on this show. I'm not good enough. The emotion that is evoked in me is often a sadness and a frustration, or sometimes even an anger. Because in the past, I'll look out to others and the way they communicate with me or how they are reacting to me. If it feels uncomfortable for me because I feel so much, I can automatically sometimes assume that the way they are reacting and the way that they are maybe not agreeing with an opinion I have or what I say I need or want, that somehow I don't measure up. And that thought evokes then those feelings of frustration, of anger, of sadness. And without presence, that emotion can affect our body, because we all know what anger feels like. It feels like a burning in our belly, right? Or a burning in the back of our shoulders or in our throat. We all know what sadness feels like. It feels like a pit, like within us. And grief is like a heaviness on our chest. We all can resonate with that. But if we're not present, if we're not coming into conscious awareness of our body from the eyes of our heart, looking at ourselves without judgment, but allowance and acceptance for the facets that make us human, which we are emotion, we are thought, we are body, but that's not who we all are. Okay, we can look at that and we can say, okay, what is this here for? What is the purpose of this? And we can start to actually allow the emotion to move, because if we don't allow the emotion to move, if let's say we go through something over and over again and we say, okay, I'm not good enough, and we get angry, we get sad, and we get frustrated, and we don't allow that emotion to move through us, to pass out of our body, right? Because emotions are energy in motion. They can get stuck. They can get stuck. And when an emotion gets stuck, it's actually, if it doesn't get unstuck, becomes dis-ease. It becomes an ache. It becomes a pain. And if left unattended to, ignored, right? Or if we believe that there's something external that we need to do to fix it, right? and constantly try and continuously try to put ourselves back together, right? It just stays. Because, again, I'll repeat this because it's important. The body has agreed to express the mind, and it does that so that we will awaken to the heart, because the mind and heart are actually friends. They are friends, even though they speak differently. They look at the life differently. Mind judges, and mind also has an element of looking at life to protect, to make sure that it is not going to be threatened. So it will activate fight or flight. Heart sees unconditionally, it understands with love. It is accepting of all. It embraces, it leans in. It is one that will go to the center of something to just understand and really get to know on a deeper level why, what it is that it needs to express or say. It wants things to be heard and seen. And so when we're able to see that, right? When we're able to understand that, we can actually see how then when the body is not in alignment with the heart and it's achy or in pain or a disease or in some sort of chronic condition, right? We just need to bring the heart in, and that's that presence. We need to bring the heart in. We need to start to lean into the emotion, lean into the mind in the way in which we're thinking in that moment about life, ourselves, or others, and start to actually question, is this true? Is it true that I'm not good enough? Or is it possible that I've in fact misunderstood myself? Because we can tap into the power we have to choose what story we tell when we are present, so that we become more and more sovereign over ourselves. And when we become more sovereign, like I spoke about, we become more responsive and less reactive. And that's where our power is, especially in this world right now. That's where our power is, response. And when we are in our bodies, present to what's going on, aware of our story, in the now, we actually are operating from the truth of ourselves. Our most powerful technology, our heart. And let me tell you, that can transform everything in your life. Everything. And so as we wrap up and head into our next segment, I want you guys to be thinking about what limits us from being present. What limits us from being present? Because as we discuss these limits, I'm actually going to teach you the process of getting present and going into this experiential meditation. It's going to be great. So let's take that break and head on in.
Are you a high-achieving, growth-oriented leader? Are you interested in developing your authentic leadership while creating a healthy, inclusive workplace? Hi, I'm Dr. Mira Brancu, host of The Hard Skills on talkradio.nyc at 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, where we discuss how leaders develop the hard skills needed to make a greater impact. We interview experts, have live coaching, and tackle these challenges. Listen to The Hard Skills on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host the program Philanthropy in Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays, 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Welcome, welcome. This is Elizabeth Tripp, your host of Nourish the Soul Talk Radio and podcast. I'm so excited to be here, and we are discussing what it means to nourish the soul. And we're realizing presence is our superpower. And what we're going to get talking about today, right now, in this segment, is what limits us from being present. What limits us, right? Well, in our culture, within it, there is a very strong programming of, we have to be doing to achieve something. We always have to be doing to be of value, right? If we're not doing something to reach some sort of achievement, to, get something accomplished, right? We can often feel like we're not measuring up, we're not enough, we're not at par with everybody else, and so we often look at ourselves like we have check boxes we need to tick in order to, accept that we are a good person, or that we are successful, or that we are healthy, and so on and so forth. And so a big major part of our cultural paradigm is, doing to achieve X, Y, and Z. And because if when I do that, then I'll be right healthy, I'll be happy, I'll feel good, I'll be prosperous, I'll be in love, right? And this really takes us out of presence, right? Because often we'll bump up against circumstances where we don't get what we think we need, or we won't achieve what we say we did. It's all circumstantial, not right time, not gonna happen. And somehow we can personalize it. Or along the way, we can take someone's opinion of what we're doing, and because they don't agree or see something within us that we want them to, we can suddenly make ourselves bad, wrong, and again, not enough. And therefore, then think we have to work harder, try harder, do more to be ourselves. And simply that takes us out of presence, because we're constantly operating out of a past experience that has traumatized us, that has led us to believe these, in my opinion, untrue beliefs about ourselves, and has us pining for the future in order to make up for that, being attached to future outcomes in order to make right here better. And that is not us in our heart. How can we even be aware? Because the entire time our body's actually working on overdrive, right? It's having to, compensate for all the stress and pressure and the anxiety, and often the frustration and anger that comes along from feeling maybe defeated or like a failure. And if we equate that to well-being, it's just simply not. Look at the industry of, things that can be taken in order to remedy physical things, chronic disease and illnesses that are affecting so many young people. Chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, lupus, all of these things that I'm seeing young generations suffering from, and now even in older generations and younger too, cancer. It's an epidemic. So, what can we do to overcome our limits? Here's the process: 5 simple, easy steps. Number 1, slow down. You remember during the pandemic, we all had to go inside, take stock of our lives, reorganize everything. We couldn't go shopping and out to the grocery stores in the same way, or social events. That all happened for a reason. And so just because everything has returned to quote unquote some normalcy, what is required of us is still that element of presence to ourselves that was being asked back then. It's not about speeding up and trying to do more, to achieve more, to get more. Actually about slowing down. That's step 1. And step 2, turning off the distractions. We are in an overstimulated environment. Technology, it is amazing, but it overtakes a lot of our focus and time and energy. And so turning off the socials, and turning the TV off, making sure that you have a quiet, really beautiful space to just tune into yourself. That's step 2. And then step 3 is becoming aware of your breath. I'm going to repeat this probably bunch of times in our podcast and show, but your breath is your way home. And the deeper you breathe in, the deeper you get to know who you are, right? That is step 3, breath. Okay. Coming into our breath, which leads us into our body, which leads us into our heart, which allows us to operate in the presence, the truth of who we are. And number 4 is dropping into that heart space, getting out of the mind and just bringing your attention into the heart center. And as you do that, becoming conscious, right? Number 5, right? So number 4 was dropping into the heart, getting out of the mind through the breath. And number 5 is exploring the body. Like I said, the body is our greatest technology. It has the answers to everything. It has agreed to speak the mind, and the mind is in partnership with the heart, even though they look at the world differently. Okay, to help us return back home to ourselves, to remember who we truly are, to embody the heart of ourselves, the spark of light that is within all of us. And so that means that we cannot judge the way we think and how we feel. We must embrace them. We must embrace the negative ways we talk to ourselves and think about others, and the emotional states that arise from these kind of stories we tell. With our heart, they can alchemize into light. And that is how we become well. We take back our sovereignty over ourselves. And we become more of these powerful beings that we already are and start to see our whole world shift. That is my personal opinion. So I'd like to take you on an experiential journey right now to actually bring you through that 5-step process. So what I'd like you to do, if you're able, is close your eyes, find yourself in a comfortable seated position. And as you close your eyes, right, you're beginning to slow down. You're turning off distractions other than what you're hearing, which is my voice. And we are all going to start to become aware of our breath. And I really love the conscious present focus of just simply as you breathe in through your nose, stating to yourself, I'm breathing in. And as you exhale out through your mouth, repeating, I am breathing out. So doing that 5 rounds, just silently to yourself, breathing in through our nose and breathing out. I am exhaling out. Breathing in through the nose, I'm breathing in and exhaling out. Breathing in through the nose, I am breathing in and exhaling out. I am breathing out. Notice as you do this, continue to do it on your own, that you're taking nice, big, deep inhales and letting it all go all the way out. And as you do this, as you continue to use your breath, listening to my voice, I want you on your next inhale to imagine you're breathing in and your breath is going right to your heart center. And as you breathe out, I am breathing out, a spark of light is beginning to shine. Breathing in, I am breathing in now to my heart, the truth of myself. Breathing out, letting it all go, the spark of light, the I am of myself shines. Breathing in again, I'm breathing in and connected to the heart, my true self. Breathing out, I'm breathing out. My light shines. And continuing to breathe, finding your rhythm and dropping in, bringing your focus, your mind's eye into your heart center. and gently and effortlessly start to explore your body. Just notice how it feels, what it's saying. As you do this, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the ways that we can stay connected. You can become a part of the Inner Light Tribe, our community, a space to awaken your heart or embrace your true power by visiting theinnerlighttribe.com. We can get connected on IG at Elizabeth M. Tripp or on Facebook at Elizabeth Tripp. And of course, you can always visit me on my website, elizabethtripp.com. So as I leave you tonight, as you awaken, your ego's job is to unravel in order to create space for your soul to emerge. If you are depressed or living in the past, if you're anxious, you're living in the future. If you're at peace, you're living in the present. Yesterday is gone, tomorrow's not yet come. We only have today. Let it begin. Thank you so much for all of you who have tuned in tonight. Stay in the peace and presence of that breath, of that activation of coming into your heart. Re-listen to this, share, and come along on this journey next week as we continue to explore nourishing the soul. Thank you so much. Namaste, and I send you all love and light.